I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
That's Lobby.
And Salty and Chip. Back to the cave, folks.
Back to the cave.
Hopefully our computer will get fixed today, but...
By the time we do the underground show, inshallah, the computer will be fixed.
Or we will have bought another one to return in a week.
Possible. Very possible. That might happen. Thank you, patrons. Yeah, we keep buying these backup computers, so...
Buying them and then returning them, so...
We appreciate you. By the way, shout out to the Patreon contents that got launched by one of our alliance groups.
Yeah.
I don't know if the organizer wants a specific shout out or not, but if you're the organizer of that contest, they started this contest without... I love that. I love people just take the bull by the horns and initiate.
Yeah.
So if you're the leader of that, email me because I want to further sweeten the pot from the pot you've already sweetened. So shout out to the big homie. Shout out to Leah. Leah of the Village.
Yep,
that's cool.
Of the Village, yep.
Yeah, because Pony's name is Pony of the Village. And then Leah of the Village. That shit is tight. That shit is tight. I got a couple things in my mind. But I love that of the Village thing. That's badass. Vin of the Village, Sori of the Village. I love that shit. That shit is tight, man. Anyway, love you guys. But she did a review of our song Breathe, and I thought it was... She
did a really good job.
The best breakdown of all time. Start to finish. All 59 minutes of it. And it definitely made me feel like, oh, this is what these guys must feel like.
Yeah, when somebody takes the time to break down your lyrics.
I felt really honored by it.
Yeah.
You know, and like the thought...
I kept looking at you. You were smiling so much.
Yeah, because I was like, well, fuck, okay. And now you guys see why I don't do rap reviews a lot, and that's why. It's not because of the genre, because that's the genre I came up in. It's because all the reviews would be in an hour and a half, because rap is more focused on the lyric. Well, the rap that I listened to was focused on the lyrics and wordplay and how clever you could be and things like that. And
no cold like Minnesota.
Cold like Minnesota. Shut up.
Shut the hell up.
Fuck up. Anyway, speaking of transcendental talent, we've got Dio, the big homie. We did an interview a couple days ago, or like a week or so ago, and we were talking about... He was asking me and I about what we've learned since we started the channel, and I talked about Dio. Like, discovering Dio was a major... like, gold rush for me.
Yeah.
So, I'm pretty excited. Okay, so this is Last in Line. This is a title track for the name of the record. Dio.
Go.
We're a ship without a storm.
very good. There are very few things that are very old that I'm like, I like it. I love the sound of it.
Dio was a bad man.
Yeah.
He was a bad man. Mm-hmm. He's my favorite vocalist. I just love his vocals. The vocals are just, gosh.
Yeah.
Him.
Yeah.
And
sings really good. I like this. The sound of the instruments, especially the beginning. The beginning when he was singing it, I just love that song, and there was something familiar about it.
Well, that had like a little Zeppelin to me. Remember that song? Yeah, you did. It's a one Zeppelin song we did in the Nick.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It wasn't. It was his voice and the sound of his voice saying those words. I don't know if I've heard something like, I don't know if it was like some Christian knockoff or, you know, some past version of me.
It was the 80s. The Christians robbed everything from rock and roll in the 80s.
Jeez, that's so
just
terrible.
Sanitized it instead of telling their kids to just listen to the song and interpret it from a biblical perspective.
Yeah.
They just stole it. Thou shalt not steal.
You shouldn't have done that.
But they did steal from Zeppelin though in that chorus thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you listen to that part and then I played Kashmir when it was it's like it's probably the exact same notes and everything. They just chopped it in half and quartered it properly. But anyway.
I don't know what the song was about though.
Well, he's an interesting writer because he was going with antinomy. Like everything was like the opposites.
Yeah.
We're a ship without the storm, cold without the warm. So part of me feels like, you know, like Jay-Z said something one time when he was beefing with Nas. He's like, if he says something you don't understand, it doesn't mean that he's nice. Yeah. It just means you can't understand the dumb shit that he writes. Because Nas has this persona like, oh, you know, like he's so smart, he's above everybody, blah, blah, blah. So if he says some shit and you don't understand it, like...
Oh, that's tight. People think it's like, because nobody wants to say they don't know.
Yeah. The dust tastes like purple, you know, lives.
Yeah.
What the fuck is that? And they're like, oh, it's Nas, he's just deep side, you know.
Yeah.
But like, so I feel like he's like, I'm just going to say a bunch of opposites. So part of me wants to say, this guy's a genius, because if you really think about it, we're a ship without a storm. That's a significant line. Mm-hmm. But then another part of me is like, well, what if he just said, because sometimes as a writer you do that. You just like pick an idea or a theme, and you're like, I'm going to go with this. So you just write opposites through the whole thing, which seems to be what he decided he was going to do. So I'm afraid to be like, yo, this dude's a genius, because there's like a lot of significant shit here. When, you know, it might just be the...
Yeah.
It just means you can't understand the dumb shit that he writes.
It's weird, because when I was hearing it, I thought, like, are we talking about, like, you know, like millennials, how everybody, like, you know, talk smack about them and all this stuff, but, like, there's something about them, but they, you know what I mean? Like, we're a ship without a storm, like they don't have all that they need to accomplish and be who they're meant to be, you know what I mean? Like, because there's things that impede them and hold them back and stuff. So I didn't know if it was like, is that how his generation was feeling?
Well, every generation feels like, but he's not saying, see, there's nuance to what he's saying, because he's not saying we're a sinking ship.
Yeah.
He's saying we're a ship, the ship's good, we got everything we need, there's just no storm.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, guys will talk about this in training, especially if you go to any, like, special missions unit or whatever. Like, you train so hard to fight, and then it's like, you're ready, and you're, like, ready to go, and you're tired of doing, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Laser tag in the woods. Like, you want to go out and contact and fight.
Right.
But you're just stuck there, and you can't go anywhere.
Yeah. Because
they spend so much money on those guys that you become an asset that they don't want to spend money on.
Right.
Of course, 9/11 changed all of that, but
right.
So like it's that idea of like maybe like having all that talent and not being able to go out and showcase it.
Yeah.
You know, being a ship without a storm, like having everything you need, but not really like having that adversity that you need to kind of test your mettle.
But it was weird because he says we're coming home, then he says we're off to the witch. We may never come home.
Right. Which again, it's all these opposites. That's an intelligent line, though, right? We're off to the witch. You got that one, right?
No. I thought...
Madre de Dios.
The only thing that I thought of was, the two things that came to mind was the witch in the woods when those little kids went to eat the candy there. And then,
Hansel
on the Wizard...
Gretel.
Yeah, and then the Wizard of Oz went...
Right.
But they were off to see the wizard.
Right. So instead of going to the wizard, you're going to see the witch.
Oh.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you're off... Because going off to see the wizard was like this divine
Well, that's
character.
how she was supposed to try to get home.
Right.
So that
it was
makes
this
sense.
divine character who was going to bring you home.
We're off to see the witch.
But if you're in Oz,
you never come home.
You're not going to see the wizard. You're going to see the witch. Like that's.
But the magic will feel is worth a lifetime.
Right. Because Dorothy, so it's like life. It's like your destination is to die. You're never going home. Like every day, you're going closer and closer to your death and away from all your loved ones.
Right.
So you're not going. Well, of course, from this worldview. Obviously, from our worldview, it's opposite.
Right.
Our worldview is that we're not home yet.
Right.
Our worldview is that we're going closer and closer to go home. But we believe we want to see the wizard.
Right.
So it's different. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Our worldview is extremely convenient.
Yep.
We know this. How's yours?
But that doesn't change the truth of it.
Right. We're off to the witch. We may never come, but the magic that we'll feel is worth a lifetime. Because it's like, look, face reality. You're going to see the witch. You're not coming home.
Yeah.
But hey, make the most of the life that you have now, and make magic in it.
You know what it reminded me of? I know that's not what he meant, but you know the Bible verse that says, what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his own soul?
Yeah.
Because he says, he's saying we're off to the witch, which is the opposite way from the wizard was how to make it home. They're going to the witch, and the witch is going to make it so that way they have a whole lifetime that's full of magic. But at the end, they're never going to make it home. So it kind of reminded me of that sort of theme.
But the way that he said, "We're burning on the cross."
Yeah.
It's just like powerful. I guess he was like a real small dude too.
Really?
Yeah, he was like real short and shit. But he's powerful as hell, man.
Oh yeah.
God almighty.
I love the way.
Some people are just like so gifted. Like he vocally just carried that song. I love him as a vocalist.
Yeah.
He has a timeless voice.
He does. That's what I'm saying.
His voice is absolutely...
He's from the 80s?
Yeah.
Yeah, most stuff from the 80s, I'm like...
You could tell, like, oh, that's in the
80s.
And I could tell a little bit. It was a little bit dated, but, like, he could have released his shit...
Now.
Today.
Yeah.
Today. What do you think of that line? We're all born upon the cross. That's some interesting shit.
Yeah, that one I was like... What is he trying to say? For the cross. I don't know, maybe we're born into a life that's hard. We're born into a curse, like we weren't born, none of us are Adam or Eve, so we weren't born into the Garden of Eden where everything was easy, and we had one thing, we could own the entire world. We had everything at our disposable. We had everything at our disposal. But it's one thing we couldn't do. But now, we're all born into, trial. We're all born into, as a ship without a storm. You know what I mean? We all have, challenges, and we all have things that,
Well,
that's what I thought.
I think a cross is a so painful death. It usually took you a couple days, sometimes a week to die. So, meaning we're all born in a slow, painful circumstance. That's what life is, if you want to be mega pessimistic about it. And it says you can release yourself, but the only way is down. You can get off the cross, but if you want to release yourself from pain and suffering, literally, if you were to get off the cross, you would go down.
Because you get off the cross.
Right. But if life is your cross, and you want to release yourself, then the only way to escape pain in life is to die. So he's a bad man.
Yeah.
I was, we did that Pantera. We did Hollow, that review of Pantera, and I told you the story. Some comments that people say in the thing in the comment section just stay with you.
Yeah, it's so true.
And his wife had left him, and then he found this girl, and then the girl was they got together, and then, you know, she was a previous heroin addict, and he's like, look, if you ever relapse or whatever, like, we're done, because he had kids or whatnot. And then her apartment, you know, things were going good, she was doing fine, her apartment got flooded, and then she had to stay at this hotel, and he hadn't heard from her in 3 days. On day 3, he goes to check on her, knocks on the door, no response, talks to the hotel manager, they barge in, and turns out she's been dead for 24 hours, you know. Which, of course, a lot of people don't realize that when you're off of heroin and you're like fully detoxed, it is extremely dangerous to relapse, because they relapse at the level that they did when they were hardened heroin addicts, and their body can't take it.
Right.
So they die.
Right.
So, like,
it happens a lot.
It happens all the time. It happens. They're so vulnerable at that time period. But it's like, you know, you can't make a lifestyle, and I'm not judging at all, because all of us do this, and some of us do it with more lethal consequences than others. You can't make a lifestyle of escaping your cross and escaping your pain, and not eventually go down. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, that's why Jordan Peterson talks about, you know, he says, I don't know if Jesus rose from the dead, but I live as if he did. Mm-hmm. And, you know, he sees in Jesus a perfect example as to how to deal with human suffering.
Yeah.
You know, God, he looks at as like, okay, this is a morality thing. Like, God has a lot of utility because he gives us order in society and morality, because he's come to the conclusion, rightly, that you don't really have objective morality without God. Mm-hmm. But in Jesus, he sees, don't go crazy in the comment section. We've done literally countless hours of discussion on this, okay? Check out the firesides, they're all there. That's not the point of what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. What he sees in Jesus, as far as the utility goes, is, as a psychologist, he has seen human suffering is inevitable. Yeah. And so the ethic of deny yourself and take up your cross and follow me. Like, go, you know, bear the weight of the pain and suffering that you have to, and go to the place of suffering and embrace it. He sees a ton of utility in that.
Well, pain and suffering is meant to strengthen us. But every time we run from it and we try to escape from it, you actually weaken yourself. And so then the next time that you have a trial, it's harder to be able to overcome that thing, because you've got, you know, mentally you have a whole history of being defeated, you know, and then just physically yourself, like, to be able to stop, especially if it's something that's like, that really, really has you. If you're really a slave to a certain thing, it's going to be even harder to turn away from that and, like, live your own life apart from your slavery, you know. So I think that, you know, pain and trials and stuff, like, you want to run from it because it's so much easier to run from it. It's so much easier to not face tomorrow, or face the depression, or face the different things. It's easier to just say, you know what, I'd rather end my life, or, you know, like, just run away from this situation in whatever way that you can. But all of those things, they just, you have to come to the point where you start saying, you know what, maybe I can't overcome all the trials of the rest of my life, but I'm going to start with the next trial that hits me, and I'm going to try to overcome that one. And then you have something to look to. You can be like, well, I did that, you know, so I can go again, you know. But it's challenging, especially if you've trained yourself to run every time you run into a situation.
Yeah.
You know, you have an escapist mentality. You just want to escape all the trials, all the pain. Well, this life is pain, this life is trials, but there's joy in the midst of it. But you don't find the joys if you don't traverse the storm.
Yeah, I just don't understand. You know, this is again the convenience of the Christian worldview, is that, you know, again, the symbology of our religion is an instrument of death and torture and destruction. Mm-hmm. And some people can look at that as morbid, but what it does is it ends up creating a redemptive category for suffering.
Yes.
Not that suffering is awesome in the sense in and of itself, but there's like a redemptive category, and so there's a context around your suffering. Yeah. And so it's true, like, you can escape your crosses, and if you try, you end up dead. You know, if you try to come down from your cross, then you're gonna go down. Like,
right.
Like, But I guess I don't understand, and this is not a criticism of any other worldview, because most of our fellow villagers are atheistic. I don't understand. Like, that would be a really cool fireside discussion. I just want to hear how my atheist friends interpret suffering, how they handle it, what mechanisms they use, that type of thing. Because I think it's very, very interesting.
Yeah.
You know,
I agree with that.
People say things, oh, religion's a crutch. Sure. If you have broken legs, you need crutches. Like, I never understood how that was...
You try rupturing your Achilles and that.
Yeah, like, I never understood how that's a criticism. Like, how is that a criticism? Like...
Well, I think it's because people don't think that they have crutches. Like, I don't think that people realize that everybody has a crutch. Everybody has something that gets you through the day, that gets you through your trials. Like, that's inevitable. Like, we all do. But I think that some people look at religion and then they say, oh, like, you need that religion to be able to get you through. Like you're not dependent upon yourself. Like, you can't just whatever. And so then it makes you, they perceive you to be weak because, well, plus they don't even believe in God. So they're like, not only do you need like some kind of a crutch, but you also need like some fairy tale. It's like, what's
so they really believe that they get through like terrible, horrible times by themselves.
Yeah,
in their own
plenty
power.
of people that think that.
You know plenty of people that think that they got through all their pain and suffering under their own power.
Yeah.
Who are these people? Name them.
I used to work with tons of people that always used to say that to me, that I had a crutch. And they would say, you know, they were living their lives and none of them had any crutches. Like,
okay.
Why would you say you're living in it? Why would you say that somebody has a crutch when you yourself know you have a crutch? They don't know that they have a crutch.
Yeah, I just think that that's a lack of self-awareness.
Well, sure. I mean,
okay, yeah.
But people think that.
Yeah. And I don't know. Maybe there are people that really think that. So that's another good conversation for a fireside. You know, like, this is you. I mean, we're the most medicated country in the history of the world. Like,
yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I think something's happened. I think something's going on. I'm not mad at us.
I can't even imagine saying that to one of those people, because some of them were, they had medicines that would help them deal with their psychotic episodes and stuff. Like, you know what's so crazy is if I were to say, you know, your pills there, that's a crutch. Like, that would be totally insulting to say to somebody. Like, they'd be like, I need these, like, as if you're, you know what I mean? Like, but people have no problem saying that to Christians. I like your crutch.
It's strange to me. I just, but that's why I said, like, really? Like, you've met people that nothing?
People used to say that all the time. I didn't even know what to say to people.
I mean, the metal community, it's metal music.
I mean, I used to say,
like, how many people have you heard this and this band saved my life? Well, yeah. They were using it as a crutch.
Yeah.
What's wrong?
Yeah.
It just so happens that I have a very well thought out, well ordered crutch for 2,000 years. Mm-hmm. It's extremely convenient. The storylines in Christianity are mad convenient. Mm-hmm. And the symbology is also very, very inconvenient. Very convenient. You got a cross, you got an empty tomb. Perfect. Mm-hmm. So you don't have to get off your cross. You stay on the cross as long as God says you need to be on the cross. And you go into the ground and you come up indestructible. And those are the two metaphors of Christianity. Right? Cross, empty tomb. Boom.
Yep.
Bread, wine. Let's go. Like, very, very convenient worldview. Then people say, like, oh, if you weren't born a Christian, I would still be a Christian if I wasn't born into this shit. Mm-hmm. Because, believe me, I've looked at your way of doing things, and it sucks. Sorry. No disrespect. 2 eyes from the east, it's the angel or the beast, and the answer lies between good and bad. You know, like, we'll know for the first time if we're evil or divine. Mm-hmm. I think that's like when you're in the line of judgment, right? Yeah. That's when you figure it out. That's a crazy thought to me. I was listening to a conversation between a Mormon and an evangelical. Because, you know, I'm in my phase. Yeah. And the evangelical said, look, on Judgment Day, nobody's going to go, oh man, it was you? Oh. Like, nobody's going to be surprised. And I thought that was very interesting because he's arguing that, you know,
everybody knows
it to some degree. But, like, is it really a miss? But see, when I saw that line, if we're evil or divine, to me, we're both simultaneously.
Yeah.
You know, we talk about this all the time. Like, you're in the image of God. That doesn't go away, no matter how bad you are. But everybody's evil, just in varying degrees. What do you have to do? What does that have to do with anything?
And does it shut off at 30 minutes?
I don't know. Let's see what it says. No, the camera shuts off at 30 minutes.
Yeah, I know, but I thought that this thing did some weird thing, and then we thought it was recording, but it wasn't.
When we had it on this program.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just kind of thought that it was like, you know, like sometimes, like in your life, you're not really sure, like, how everything's gonna measure out to be, like, in the end when everything goes, like, yeah, like you said, in the judgment, you know what I mean, or something like that. Like, are we divine or are we evil? Like, how bad is our bad and how good is our good?
I don't think about that stuff. You think about that stuff?
No, but I think about, like, it's weird, like, where did that thought come from? No, because I have a different mentality coming from my religion about what happens.
Okay.
But if I didn't have my religion, then, yeah, I would wonder, like,
Well, what do you think happens on Judgment Day?
Well, no, I think that, you know, everything that you do, like, I have an understanding that everything that we do that's good, the only reason that we were able to do that good was because God gave us the grace to be able to do that good.
Okay.
So, but, like, if you just look at, like, just a regular person, like, I'm trying to think of an example, and I can't, like, something that looks like, whoa, that looks like really terrible. Like, let's say you were driving your car, and you were, like, texting, and you ran somebody over, and, like, so in the moment that looks really bad, but if you could see all eternity, like, that, say that person, like, grows up and becomes, like, a Hitler, you know what I mean? Like, so we can't see the whole picture, so, like, are we evil for texting and driving, or was the person, like, divine for, like, stopping a Hitler? You know what I'm saying? Like, these sort of, like, how can you really know until everything is completely over and we see everything for what it really is?
That is an interesting thought experiment. I will be chewing on that for the rest of the night. Yeah, because it puts together compatibilism, concurrence, revealed will, secret will. There's a lot of stuff in that little analogy that I have to unpack. Well, yeah, it's
not as smart as your 9 Inch Nails friend.
No, you weren't as smart as her. She was a genius. She was a genius.
I know, that's why I put that out there.
Shout out to the big homie. Yeah. For evil or divine, that's such an interesting concept. You can know now if you're evil or divine. When you act like God, you're divine. When you act evil, you're the devil. Stop being a devil, Ben. You, Ben Webb, my buddy. You know what I mean. You know what you did.
I don't know what you did, Ben.
Neither do I. This pastor used to... Did I tell you that joke? This pastor used to go up to people and be like, look, I know what you did.
Yep.
You thought nobody saw you, but God saw you. And then people would go, oh my God, blah, 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 blah.
And they just spill it.
And they spill it, yeah.
I know.
So
I knew
then
a pastor that did the same thing.
I went up to this girl at church one time.
And you tried it?
And then she was like, she got beet red, very, very red. And she was like, stop judging me. And da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, man. Yeah.
You know what it is? It's because, like, nobody's perfect. Everybody's fucked up.
Skeleton.
So there's always some skeleton, that you don't want somebody to know about.
Well, there's always church people who don't really understand the message. Because they think that they're supposed to be, like, completely perfect all the time. And they don't understand, like, Christianity's for bad people.
Right.
Which is why all our atheist friends are, like, head and shoulders, like, better people than us. Mm-hmm. Christianity's for bad people. Anyhow! I love this song. I love it. This guy is lyrically talented. The musicianship, the solo in the middle. definitely 80s. I was like, that's an 80s song, but that solo was legit. You know, like, sometimes, like, I wish, like, we talked about this with the Trent Reznor thing, with the Nine Inch Nails thing, where, like, the middle was all, like, the drum interlude was like, why have that? Mm-hmm. It wasn't necessary. Sorry, Nine Inch Nails people. It wasn't necessary. And, like, a lot of the 80s, like, a lot of the solos, like, they weren't necessary. You had bands like Korn come out and, like, they just killed the solo. They just didn't do it. You know? But, like, this song, the solo was necessary. What's wrong? I believe so. Like, I don't think the song would have been the same without it.
I loved it.
And it was just like, woo! But, you know, I'm like, fuck.
What?
I never got to see Dio live.
Oh, I know.
I'm so grateful to do this channel and be able to discover these people. You know, because, you know, like, I'd have never... It blows my mind that top-notch musicianship and vocalization was out there like this.
I know.
And we had no freaking clue.
If I was an older person and this was like, Dio was like my thing, like, and like I was around like at that time when he was like big and stuff, and I would be really annoyed with like young people, like, you not know the great, you know? Like when this is playing, I was like, he's one of the greats.
Yeah, he's my favorite vocalist.
He's definitely one of the greats.
If I could come up with a super band, it would be Dio on vocals. It would be Dimebag on lead.
Yeah.
Cliff Burton on bass. Head on rhythm. People are like, oh my god, I can't believe it. I haven't picked a drummer yet. I don't have a favorite drummer yet. There's nobody like on drums that has hit me the way Dime has hit me on guitar, or the way that Dio has hit me vocally, or the way that Head has hit me. So or the few things I've heard from Cliff Burton, I just love him. I think Cliff Burton was probably the greatest bassist in metal history, period. Full stop. I mean, he was the greatest.
Here first,
he was the greatest. I love his stuff. Plus, it's the book that I have. It's about him too. So. But yeah, so drummer is open. If you want a drummer spot on Vin's legendary lineup.
No, what's that called when you pick your dream team? Is it the
dream team, fantasy team, whatever?
Yeah, on Vin's fantasy team.
Yep. I mean, this guy's he's just great. I love him so much. I can't tell you how much I love him. All right, what do you give the song?
I give it
a 10. Yes. Fun fact, Dio was the only song I've given an 11.
Oh, 11. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
But this one, Rainbow, I gave Rainbow an 11. It's the only song I've ever given an 11. So one of these days we're going to do Vin and Sori trivia. You know what's funny? Is like all these people are like, I do not approve of the changing of the seating position. Because we're sitting in, in a different position.
Oh, you can't flip it. Yeah. We're still sitting how we normally sit, but the camera's not flipping it.
You should. I'm going to have you do that.
Why?
Because then they're like, well, no, let's just keep it on there. People want things the way they want them. So, this is a 10 for me. A lot of food for thought on this song.
Well, honestly, really I don't blame people. That would bug me too. Because I'm like that. Like,
it would bug
it's
you.
just now something's missing. Like, you can't have something missing.
Nothing's
Even though
missing.
Nothing's missing.
Vin's here. Sori's here.
I know,
Lobby,
but it's
Salty,
just,
Chip.
Yeah.
Everybody's here. It's just not in a little controlled environment. So now you don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
All right. I just want to take this time to shout out the big homie Sori. She was extremely, extremely sick. She dragged herself out of bed, and she did this because she loves you guys. So, we read a lot of your guys' comments. We don't get to respond to all of them because, you guys know it's getting bigger and bigger. But comments where people say they listen to us every day in the morning on routine really affect us. And because of that, we're focused on going full-time for sure. But it's really that.
Yeah, I don't have a good mind for, like, seeing the future of, like, full-time because it feels so far away.
Right.
But the people that say they get up and they get their cup of coffee, that makes me super emotional.
Yeah.
They get their cup of coffee and they watch us for a while, and you know how I feel about people being lonely.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So So it's important to us that we come through for y'all. So
even if we're in a cave.
Technical difficulties or not, sick or not, we're, you know. So I just want to shout her out because she's unbelievable. Unbelievable. And if you don't know what it's like to do a channel where you have, and you guys, you know, I'm sure if we'd say we had technical difficulties, we're late all the time on the Underground show. Nobody ever bites our head off. But doing YouTube, it's a real serious commitment. Like Underground Metal Elitist came out with, you know, the YouTube Grinded, and there's a lot of folks who just like fall off the wayside because it's so hard. But when you love what you're doing, and we love music, and when you love the people you're doing it for, which is you guys, it's really not work. So anyway, shout out to Sori, love it, baby. I'm serious. You're special. Well, you're special. Well, you're special. All right, Vin out.
Sori out.
Gone.